Blessings and peace once again. You have reached my Aisha Speaks Jade Facebook page. Thanks so much for returning and listening to me, whether it was live or catch a replay afterwards. So I want to speak about, and thank you. I am caught up for today, which is Thursday, August 23rd, 2018. You are listening to my live audio. Make sure that you guys like it, share it, support it, make it go viral. At the top of my Aisha Speaks Jade page, there is a rating at the top. I would love, love, love your feedback. Put in your ratings on how you like or, how you feel about my videos, or my audios that I speak on. Give me a rating. That helps me as well. Doesn't matter if I get in a feeling or not. It's all love at the end of the day. Again, go to the top of my Aisha Speaks Jade page and it says right now no rating. So I think that you can leave a comment in that. Rate me. I'd be really interested and curious as of how you feel. So let's just jump right in. We're going to speak about Transparency Thursday. Okay. Transparency in business, why it matters. So let's find out what the definition of how they define business transparency. So in its simplest sense, business transparency means clear, unhindered honesty in the way that she or he does business. But it's more than that. One business dictionary defines transparency as a lack of hidden agendas or conditions accompanied by the availability of full information required for collaboration, cooperation, and collective decision making. The same source describes it as an essential condition for a free and open exchange whereby the rules and reasons behind regulatory measures are fair and clear to all participants. So meanwhile, another source defines transparency as the full, accurate, and timely disclosure of information. So in other words, business transparency is more than simple honesty. So much more. Being transparent is dependent, not the degree and timelessness of that honesty. So for example, if a company engages in a practice that costs its members or shareholders money, but doesn't admit its responsibility for the loss until years later, that is not transparent behavior. Regardless of how completely the company discloses the details of its behavior. Unfortunately, there are some detractors who prefer that transparency retain its more strategic character and perhaps even be thought of as a burden on companies as a result of increased regulatory constraints. Although it's true that the messaging of transparency ought to be mended into the communication strategy of every business, it is precisely this mindset that makes this discussion so necessary. So I just wanted to bring you a little bit of that, the definition of it, and hopefully we can get into more because it just kind of got stuck on me. So, okay. So the purpose of transparency in business. In order to get around this more Unitarian, often negative disposition towards transparency, it is important to discern its greater purpose, specifically when it comes to the area of doing business. Such a rationale can be found when one considers the company that they run not only as a means of earning a profit, but as an extension of one's own personal reputation. Whether you currently are or have been an employee in the past, we've all heard that saying, you are the face of the company. All too often, though, this truth is only reinforced among the part of the workforce that doesn't have a long-term vested interest in the financial success of the company. It is used as a call to action or a prod against worker complacency rather than a much needed reminder from the lowest level employee to the highest level executive. And that can be in your business or in your, if you're working for corporate America. That personal conduct is a reflection of both the person and the company she or he represents. More importantly, however, the opposite is also true. Business practices are also a reflection on the people who adopt said practices. While the former is pertinent no matter one's position on the employee, this truth is particularly relevant to the owners, executives, and managers who are the decision makers. I really am trying to get you guys back to where I really wanted to go, but it's not being too cooperative. So, how to make your business more transparent? In all fairness, though, the idea of exposing the internal operation structures and even the culture of a company can be a scary thing. In an instant gratification economy such as ours, where brand perception can often trump the quality of the good or service being sold, it might be troubling to consider the potential fallout once customers become aware of the amount of time and money that is spent investing in the perception of a product rather than the product itself. But that should be a call to action, not a reason to be more reclusive. It ought to be seen as an opportunity to reallocate resources in a way that creates increased value for customers and communities, which in turn will yield increased profitability and long-term sustainability for the company. And whether you are a solo operation, own a small business, or run a large multinational corporation, a few guidelines apply universally in efforts to increase business transparency. So people can smell what form a mile away. So don't decorate your transparency initiative with needless fluff that will at best distract from your message, or worse, cause direct harm to it. This means talking about what you know and being who you really are, both as a company and an individual. So, in other words, make sure that those who come in contact with your business are able to know the people who actually run it. Instead of the overused stock photos, professional actors, and paid referrals, give people a real glimpse of who you are and who actually provides the good or service. So honesty is really the best policy. If it's relevant to what you do, The people affected have a right to know. All too often, critical details of how a company operates are divulged on a need to know basis. However, as soon as one of those details become public knowledge, that business or businesses' reputation and the reputation of the people running it are compromised. People and communities deserve to know the ins and outs of a company's operation before they begin to patronize it or, if applicable, provide the space, infrastructure, and labor necessary to open a new location. Keeping this in mind, as much as people celebrate good surprises, they tend to give just as much, if not more, publicity to bad ones. Remaining honest is also important as companies adjust and adapt. By involving the community in that process, companies are able to maintain a high quality of rapport with the public, as well as get a better idea of what consumers actually want or need, both of which reduce the cost of needless changes while increasing the appeal of the good or service your company or business provides. Timing is definitely everything. The best time to respond to a concern or increase transparency is like yesterday. But today's not such a bad time either. Given the countless real-time tools we have at our disposal, no matter what the size of the enterprise, there are no excuses for being slow to act. You have blogs, social media, email campaigns, all of these outreach mechanisms allow you to maintain a continuous dialogue with customers and communities alike. When something goes wrong, don't wait until you have to react to someone else pointing it out. Get in front of the issue and make sure that the people that have entrusted you to do business in their community know you're doing all you can to resolve it. The longer you leave people hanging, the more likely they are to think the worst and look to replace you. And believe me, they will do it fast. And depending on how serious the issue is, perhaps even remove you. Perhaps the best way to remember the importance of full and complete transparency in business is to remain mindful of the fact that a business is meant not only to cultivate a community of people interested in the product or service that you offer, but to offer something that benefits the community that contributes to or is affected by that company's action. Yes, transparency is certainly an appealing means to a lucrative end, but is also an end in itself. Transparency doesn't just help businesses become financially successful. It makes them good citizens. And good citizens never go out of business. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you apply it, whether you're thinking about starting a business or if you're already in an existing business, whether it's for a short time or a long time. You can always learn and apply. I always say life for me is a lifelong learning experience. Things are consistently being updated, technology and just all different types of tools and resources and stuff. So with that being said, thank you as always for listening and applying and taking what I say and sharing it with other people. other business owners or other upcoming business owners, and making sure that you like and listen and share my videos or my live audios. Remember to take care of yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. Always remember self-care in any and everything you do. Self-care. You have to be emotionally and physically in your best self to do anything. Know your self-worth. Don't just settle. Love yourself and like yourself. And respect. Have an enjoyable evening. Have a better tomorrow. Much gratitude. Much grace. And with that being said, namaste and ashe.